Today, we're answering your questions about renos and real estate. And when I say we, I really mean him. Scott McGillivray is on the show today. Scott, come on out here. It's been forever.
It has been forever. So good to see you.
My first question for you is, what's been going on? Have a seat.
Oh, my goodness. Well, it's been busy. My world's been busy. Renovations are in high demand. Real estate is gone bananas.
Whoa.
And we're working in cottage country. So it's like triple pandemonium.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, it's amazing for me to see the girls on Instagram. They're growing, and both of us are always like, oh my God, your kid got so big.
It's true.
It's incredible to see that, but the girls are good.
The girls are good, and thank goodness for your social media, because that's the only way I've been able to watch your family evolve for the last few years and watch your kids grow up. And our kids are close in age, so we kind of see them going through the same things. But yeah, it has just flown by, and the kids are getting tall.
They're getting long, they are. It's good to hear about everything going well for your family, and I love to see you guys all together and all happy. But now I'm going to lend you to all of our viewers because they've got questions for you. So this one's from Liz. Liz has a renter-friendly home reno question for you.
Okay.
Hi, Scott. My boyfriend and I are doing a little reno project of ourselves for our powder room, and we want to install some shiplap just horizontally in a tiny little powder room. And we were just wondering what the best adhesive we could use is, because we don't want to use a nail gun and have to fill in the holes with wood filler after.
Because that just feels like too much work with a nail gun.
Everybody loves the shiplap, right?
Yes.
If you want to go low maintenance and easy installation with shiplap, I would get something that's pre-finished. That's going to make your life easier. There's like a Ready Pine product, which comes in all kinds of different colors and finishes. But ideally, you are gluing and nailing these products to the wall. But there's a bit of a myth there. If you know how to nail it in, there shouldn't be any holes to fill, because you should be nailing it in on an angle on the tongues, and then the groove of the next board covers it. So theoretically, you nail it in, next board, covered up. But if you're going to go without any nails, there are some adhesives, construction adhesives like a PL, that would hold it, but it's going to take longer. Like, you can't put the whole thing in or it's going to peel off. You'd have to do a few boards at a time, use something to hold it against the wall, but I do recommend a nail and adhesive strategy.
Oh, do both.
Do both. Yeah, you put the adhesive on and you nail it. Because again, especially if you're not doing a full renovation, you don't know where the studs are. You might just be nailing into drywall. If you're lucky, you might hit a stud. So, yeah, you're going to have to do both on that one.
Okay, well, listen, you got to give the honest answer, even if it's a little bit more work. It's going to be better. It's going to be done better.
Better payoff so it doesn't bevel later. You don't want to see it, like, you know, deflecting out or peeling off.
No.
Especially in a bathroom where you have humidity. It needs to stay and it needs to perform.
Absolutely. Okay, switching over to real estate investing, here's what Sherry wants to ask.
Hi, Scott. I'm Sherry from Mississauga. I have 3 short-term rental properties, and my question to you today is, I'd like to maximize my property investment potential, and I was wondering what you would recommend that I do. Thank you.
I recommend Sherry goes into radio immediately.
She's got it, right?
She's got that voice.
She's got that voice, and she's got that portfolio. Come on, 3 properties.
Nice.
I'm assuming she's doing quite well, the way real estate has performed over the last few years, and short-term vacation properties are thriving. The reality is, if you are a real estate investor or you have multiple properties, there is a massive opportunity right now, and that would be looking at the equity that has been built up through both what has been passive appreciation, that's the market going up. It's been going up by, you know, double digits for the last 2 to 3 years. And also, if you've been applying some of those rental payments to your debt, you've got principal recapture, meaning you've paid down the initial investment. So if you want to go from 3 to 5 to 20 properties without, you know, trying to beg and borrow money from everybody, the way to do it is to use equity in the portfolio that you have. So the typical rule that I say is, once you've hit a 40% equity position in a property, meaning, you know, the debt is only 60%, you got 40% equity, you want to start looking at restructuring or renewing your lending on that property to pull that equity out and use that as a down payment on your next property. So that would be the best advice, is to look at your portfolio, is see if you can line up the timing of your mortgages, and maybe you can even do a blanket loan across all of the equity and consolidate it into one loan. There's a couple different options depending on what bank or institution that she's using.
She's on track.
She
Very
is on
good.
track.
Jeanette wants to test your design skills
Let's
with this
do
next
it.
one.
Hi Scott, we bought an 1860s general store up north. We're setting up 2 rooms in our house as an Airbnb suite. What kitchen cooking functionality should we include to make it attractive to renters, but not too difficult to clean between renters?
Great question. Yeah, you want to look at if it is an investment property, which it sounds like it is, and it's slightly remote. If it's up north, then you definitely want to make sure that when guests are arriving, if they might not be leaving for a full week, so you need a kitchen that can accommodate that type of accommodations, let's call it. If you're in the city, people can go grab something or go out for meals, but in that situation, the big thing is to make sure that you have fridge and cabinet space. So you might need a pantry to hold all the groceries that would feed a group for a week. And fridge space. People always underestimate how much fridge space is required in a short-term vacation rental. So we will typically do a full-size fridge freezer with a second beverage fridge, so that, yeah, it's like put all the drinks in here, and we both know that that fills up very quickly.
It's a vacation,
It's a vacation.
right? Come on.
You need to have a good time.
Yeah.
And then the main fridge typically for most of the food. If you want to save some money and be reasonable, a lot of vacation properties actually can be serviced extremely well in the kitchens with shelving. And shelving is only about a quarter of the cost, open shelving, versus putting in upper cabinets.
True.
And it does double duty. Number one, it stores the stuff. But number two, when you're posting a property as a host, guests are typically looking at the pictures and not reading all of the descriptions.
Yeah.
So if you can display everything that you have, the stemware, the coffee machine, the dishes, it's like it's less to put in the description, and people are like, oh, look at this place. It's got all the dishes that we want. Oh, it's got this or that, which might be interesting. It's less work as a host to display it, and guests who are arriving who are new to the property aren't searching through a million cabinets. Everything's right there.
True.
So it's affordable and it makes sense. So it's a huge win. I would consider some open shelving upper cabinetry, maybe one large pantry, and you're going to need all of the standard appliances, full-size oven, dishwasher, you got to have it, and 2 refrigerators, one main one and a secondary
mini
one or a
one.
beverage fridge. Yeah.
See, that stuff I would have never thought of with the open shelving, but that makes a lot of sense because I know even when we're looking for a property to rent, I don't want to read all the small print either.
No.
My husband does that. I don't. I'm looking at the pictures.
Right.
So that's smart. Okay, this is Carly. Carly has a question I bet you get asked all the time. Take a listen.
Hi Scott, it's Carly in Winnipeg. I'm just wondering how you can tell if a wall in your home is load bearing or not.
That's a great question. This is a question that comes up all the time because everybody wants to open it up, tear down the walls, but tearing down a partition wall can be fairly simple. You may have to move some electrical or plumbing, but taking down a load-bearing wall, it could be a real problem. And believe you me, I've seen it done, and it will actually devalue your house. It'll create a huge problem.
Oh, geez.
Yeah, it's a permit situation for sure.
Yeah.
But the question is, how can you tell?
Yeah.
And it's not like it's written on the wall, load-bearing wall.
Yeah.
I wish it was. But there's a couple tricks and tips you can use. Number one, typically, if you have a basement, main floor, and an upper floor, or at least 2 floors in your home, if there's a wall above a wall, typically that is a point load coming down. A post, same thing. If a post goes down, the basement is one of the best places to be able to tell where your load-bearing walls are, because you might be able to see the beams. If you can see where the joists are crossing, if you can see where the beams are underneath, typically the loads will carry their way up in synchronized with those spaces, and you'll have a footing actually in the basement, so the post will have a large pad underneath to carry that load. If you're opening up the walls, some of the telltale signs would be if the wall is thicker than your regular walls, so if it's built out of 2x6s, it might be a load-bearing wall. And also if it has a double top plate, which means you'll see 2 pieces of lumber at the top instead of just one. Typically that will also indicate that it is a load-bearing wall. So if you have a chance to open it, typically I can tell. And if you open the ceiling a little bit and you see the joists are crossing it, that's load-bearing for sure.
Okay, so there's no just knock, knock, knock.
Everybody, no, don't just rip
That's
it
a
out.
load bearing.
That's
Oh,
load
that's
bearing.
not load bearing.
The 2x4 told me so. Yeah.
Scott, it's good to see you in real life.
So great.
You got to check out Scott's own vacation house and the new season of Scott's Vacation House Rules. That's Mondays at 9 p.m. on HGTV Canada. And remember, if you have a question for any of our experts, send it in. Email submissions at cityline.tv or scan this QR code on your screen.